But I'll be honest, I always thought it was impossible, which is to create a community with UK, USA for Muslims. Of course, I'm sure you can't exclude people because of religion or whatnot.
Right. There are ways, brother, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have gyms that are
segregated.
What amazes me is that you actually done it and you sold out the plots.
Yes, within 40 minutes. We're putting the subdivision laws. Hey, this is the law. One of the laws being your yearly contributions, 75% of it goes to support the masjid that's going to be there. We're making these laws. We're putting those laws. It's unbelievable what Allah can do for you.
Islamic developers are no longer hiding their intentions. They're openly planning to build Sharia enclaves on American soil. And one massive project in Texas just got shut down by the governor himself.
The plans already outlined in videos posted on YouTube said the East Plano Islamic Center has purchased 402 acres near Josephine in far northeast Collin County and also Hunt County. The Islamic Center is planning a 1,000 home housing development, which would also include a K-8 school and mosque.
This isn't conspiracy talk. It's happening right now in the Lone Star State. You're tuning into the 9/10 podcast, where possession is 9/10 of the law. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. So what exactly is Epic City? It's a massive 400-acre development being planned just outside of Dallas by the East Plano Islamic Center.
In promotional videos, Epic City is a collection of single and multifamily homes and commercial developments surrounding a mosque and school.
Epic City is more than just a neighborhood. It's a way of life.
They're not just building a mosque, they're constructing an entire city with over 1,000 homes, Islamic schools, and infrastructure, all centered around a mosque.
But last month, online Governor Abbott raised the rumor of Sharia law playing a part. State Rep Jeff Leach wrote a letter asking the Attorney General to investigate. And Epic responded to the governor online saying, "Our vision is to build a diverse, safe, and inclusive community and will follow all local, state, and federal laws."
Now they'll tell you this is just a diverse housing project, but their own leaders have been caught in video describing something very different. Yasir Qadi, the spiritual leader behind this, laid out the vision in crystal clear terms. They're building an Islamic city in the heart of Texas. And get this, they already have a sprawling neighborhood in Plano. The Daily Mail went there and found dozens of homes with Arabic writing on the facades, valued at around $1 million each. They've got Islamic grocery stores, restaurants, and even a senior living facility that they proudly describe as America's first luxury senior residence embracing Islamic traditions. This isn't just a neighborhood, it's a test run for what they plan to build on a much larger scale. But here's where it gets good. Governor Abbott of Texas isn't having any of it. He's launched a full-scale offensive against Epic City, and he's bringing the full weight of Texas law enforcement with him.
Leaders are mobilizing opposition to a potential Muslim-centric neighborhood, with Governor Abbott promising that it'll never come to be. Attorney General Ken Paxton launched an investigation against the East Plano Islamic Center, also known as EPIC. They want to develop land in Josephine, about 25 miles east of Plano.
The Texas Funeral Commission sent a cease and desist letter alleging illegal funeral services at the East Plano Islamic Center. And the governor on X writing, "This is the tip of the iceberg. The proposed community will never see the light of day."
Abbott announced that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality found that EPIC hasn't obtained the required permits for construction. He ordered them to immediately cease any construction activities or face the full weight of the law. But that's just the beginning. The Texas Rangers, and I'm talking about the elite state law enforcement agency, not the baseball team, are conducting a criminal investigation into EPIC and its affiliated entities. The Texas Workforce Commission is investigating them for potential discrimination violations under the Texas Fair Housing Act. Because let's be real, when you're building a community centered on a mosque with Islamic traditions, who do you think you're selling those homes to? The Texas State State Securities Board is investigating potential financial harm to Texans. And the Attorney General of Texas is investigating potential violations of consumer protection laws. That's a dozen state agencies coming down on these guys like a ton of bricks. Abbott isn't messing around. But here's what's really disturbing. Epic City isn't an isolated case. This appears to be a concentrated effort to establish Islamic enclaves across America. In a jaw-dropping podcast episode, Bengali Muslim developer Sam Amin openly celebrated his efforts to construct a Muslim village in America. He bragged about streets named after Islamic conquerors, contracts funneling money directly to a mosque, and complete with legal tricks to deter non-Muslims from moving in.
So like you said, brother, masjid, homes, a total Muslim village. So we're still debating on the name, but it's going to be something Muslim name and a village attached to it, right? The names of the streets, Khalid ibn al-Walid, Tariq bin Ziyad, like all the great conquerors. And then we want to have different sections like Andalusia, this, that, like all our past glories, and we want to bring it back.
He said, and I quote, "We're making the laws. We're putting in those laws," he boasted. And I quote again, 75% of the fees go to the mosque.
Like you cannot make it exclusive, like non-Muslims not allowed, Quran not allowed. What we're doing, there's something called association fee. I don't know what it's called in Dubai. Like your maintenance fee that you pay yearly, to cutting the service fee, to cut the grass, to remove the snow and whatnot. So that service fee will put there 75% of the service fee you're paying goes to the masjid.
So they would automatically not want to come.
Automatically, if you are a practicing Christian, I would advise you, why help the Muslims?
And get this, they're using American frontmen to hide the Islamic purpose. They're hiring American lawyers, civil engineers, and planning commissioners for their connections to local townships.
Right? We have the great attorneys. So I hired everyone that the township knows. So they have dealt with this is their boy, their attorney. This is their civil engineer. This is their planning commissioner. I have hired all of them in our team. Now they are submitting the application, because now comes the real world. You got to, play it wise, right? So now the township is going to see an application coming from, I'm not going to name his name, like John Smith submitting this application.
They even use names like John Smith on official records to avoid detection. Their goal? Build Islamic-only enclaves while branding them as diverse communities. And get this, they're using our own legal system to do it.
Oh my God, what is John Smith thinking, right? But this is what you make John Smith do when you got the money. You hire John Smith and tell him, hey, submit an application as I tell you to submit.
Are you sure this guy's not going to get you in trouble?
Nothing, brother. I don't care. What are you going to do? So this is another thing.
I want the project to manifest.
Of course.
That's where you got. Then you got to pull out the Constitution.
Exactly.
Freedom of religion.
Exactly.
You can identify as whatever you want, bro.
The residents of Josephine, Texas, the small town of about 2,000 people where Epic City is planned, are understandably concerned.
Epic City update. Hundreds of people showed up at the courthouse today. So many people saw that they had to move hundreds of people into an auditorium where they streamed the actual meeting in which they were talking about Epic City. Locals poured in by the hundreds, complaining loud. We will not accept this, which is great news. But if you look at Epic City YouTube page, they've already responded saying nobody's going to stop what's coming, and they're not backing down, and they're not going to stop. And they seem to imply that funding's in place.
This is not about one faith versus another. This is about rejecting segregation in any form. No group should ever have the power to claim an entire neighborhood for themselves.
Now, Epic and their supporters are playing the victim card, of course. They claim this is all just Islamophobia and that they're being persecuted for their religion. Their Houston-based attorney, Dan Cogdill, claims they're facing backlash and hate mail. He says they haven't even broken ground yet and insists the community would abide by state and national laws. But here's the thing, if you watch the videos where the leaders describe their vision, it's clear that while they may technically follow American law on paper, they're creating a parallel society with its own rules and customs. They're embedding themselves into the system, hiring, quote, everyone the township knows to push their agenda through. So what's the bottom line here? Governor Abbott and Texas officials are taking a stand against what appears to be a deliberate attempt to establish a parallel Islamic society on American soil. They're using every legal tool at their disposal to ensure that Epic City never sees the light of day. And it's working. Construction has been halted. Investigations are ongoing. And the public is finally waking up to what's happening. This isn't about religious freedom. It's about maintaining the integrity of American communities and ensuring that everyone plays by the same rules. When developers openly brag about creating enclaves designed to exclude non-Muslims and funnel money to religious institutions, that definitely crosses a line. The question now is whether other states will follow Texas's lead and start investigating similar developments in their own backyards. Because, make no mistake, if they're doing this in Texas, they're doing it elsewhere in the country. Thanks for tuning into the 9/10 podcast, where possession is 9/10 of the law. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. Peace.